Hey there, folks. I am going to do something we've never done on the channel before, and that is we're going to have a conversation with Ty and have a 2023 look back and a 2024 look ahead. Ty, I could not think of a better person to do this with. You've actually been in the real estate game longer than I have. So combined, we've got about 50 years experience. So thank you for doing this.
I I absolutely love it. And I just want to say I'm always excited to do stuff with you. And I'm a bit nostalgic, I like looking back, recognizing patterns, what was working, what's different, and then really projecting, okay, what's going to happen next. And so I love being connected with you on all the financial studies and the way you look at the market. So I'm excited for this. Thank you.
So if we do the look back first, I think we really got to break 2023, at least from a business perspective, kind of in two halves. I think there was the first half, at least in the real estate market, that came out stronger than people expected, right? Because November, December, and January were pretty tough months, especially if your business was flipping. And then we had kind of that spring selling season and rates went down. It kind of caught everybody. Myself, we exited two flips early in the year, and made six figures combined on those roughly. That's what I remember about the first half of 2023. What do you remember in your business in the first half?
I remember specifically that at one point in like February, I had a property that was kind of average, a little dated, good family friends of mine. The property well above the median. And specifically what I remember, and I just want to go to this, is that rates took a little dip down in February, enough that we were able to move it. And then all of a sudden, it just felt like the spring, we kept like just ticking up, ticking up. Rates kept moving. And then, of course, we hit a peak basically of 8% plus about, let's call it 10 weeks ago. What would that be? That was
Call it
October?
October. Yeah, let's call it October. Yeah.
October. So I think just a weird, wild ride where I think last year, if we were in 22, we kind of thought the rates would just begin to level off and that maybe we're at terminal rate. And it shifted. Rates continued to click up a bit. So I thought it was interesting for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely the second half, and why I divided it is rates surprised to the upside. I think they peaked at like 8.03 as a national average. They've obviously come down a bunch since then. But what I remember the second half of 2023 being is what I'm calling the transaction bottom.
Yep.
Right. Redfin CEO thought it'd be 4 million. I thought it'd be 3.8. We came in at 3.79. I think when we look back in a decade, that will be the bottom on the chart, right? All the graphs have a bottom. That 3.79 will be a bottom. And I think a lot of people don't understand. I mean, they think, how can we do 3.8 million homes when rates are 8%? Some people got to sell, some people got to buy. There are a lot of cash buyers. Business still happens. And the other thing I'll say about the real estate industry is, even though you and I warned for seemingly at least a year, if not longer, there's a lot of shops that aren't right-sized for 4 million transactions. Their overhead was or is too much.
100%. You've been talking two things that stand out to me looking at 2023 across the board for about the last 18 or 24 months. The talking heads continue to talk crash, market crash, market crash, right? It's laughable. And the thing is that you were so contrarian that like, no, it's not a crash in value. It's not 2008. We're not going to see this big or even a bubble in value, and that it's a crash in transactions. And you were talking about that back in 22, more aggressively as we wrapped up 22, and then continued that as other people were still saying crash, crash, crash. Just not the case. No. So you nailed it, 2023. I think that, originally your terminal rate, although you pivoted, I believe your terminal rate was 5%.
Yep.
And we ended up terminal rate it's
5.375. So yeah, they went higher than I thought. Yep.
Just a little bit higher. I think it was just one increase that happened.
One increase. Yep.
One increase that happened basically late spring, if I'm not mistaken.
It was July, I think it was. It was the July one that I disagreed with.
Yeah.
Which yeah.
you missed basically, but the whole entire 22, 23, you were spot on and you were just slightly off on the terminal rate. And so I think for people that were really following your lead, and then not only that, but hearing and seeing, basically taking in the information you shared, and then go back and research it for yourself to
Yeah,
confirm. Because that's what I was doing. I was doing the reading, following you, but also trying to really understand it and think the way you think. And so
absolutely.
for me, it was very obvious that you were so spot on this year.
Yeah, there's when I step back for 2023 and think one rental at a time, or Olivia and I think there's a couple of things that I will wrap up 2023 on, and then we'll talk about 2024. First, on a personal level, we basically took 2 months off, right? We took basically the month of January, and we were in Asia. Then we took just over 3 weeks, and we were in Europe. um, we bought a seven-figure home in Vegas, which had always been at least a goal of mine, and Olivia came along, so we have that now. So 2023 was a lot of personal achievements. We also hit 50,000 subs on the channel this year, which was huge. Um, then yeah, we got a lot right. Yeah, we got a lot right on the channel, and we're now probably the proudest thing is I get almost daily notes that one rental at a time, the daily financial news, the weekly wrap up with Ty is changing people's lives. And it makes the daily activity worth it. So that's what I'm going to remember about 2023 from a personal and a business side. What about you? What are you going to remember?
I love, and I'll say that when you were on vacation, I love that I got to completely independently produce the Friday financial wrap up. So it required me to really say, okay, I know this stuff. I think I know this stuff, but I was able to put together the shows and I really enjoyed because, it was like a month there and a month here. So that was really fun for you to entrust me to do the show completely on my own, to do the research, put the content together. That was a lot of fun. So thank you for that. I felt like I grew in that. Also, what
Oh,
I would say,
your social media game. I mean, since that January is on point. I mean, you go follow, dude. If you're not following Ty on Instagram, dude, you're missing out. TYLG, right? TYLG.
yeah, TY_LG. Thank you for that, Michael.
Of
I also
course.
want to say too something else that's important, and I love. You went and bought a house, and you bought a seven-figure house, a
Seven
significant
figure,
purchase.
brand new, direct from a builder. Yep.
And what I'll say is this, is that I want to just really, and I'm speaking really to the realtors and the people that are still transactional, you're living, you're a loan officer, or you originate, whatever it is, you're connected to transactions. Even though we went from 6 million to sub 4 million, and Michael called it, Redfin CEO said, no, we've bottomed out transactions. Michael said, no, we're going to
No.
go 3.8. We're going sub 4 million. And you said that for a long time. But here's what I want to really point out. In spite of the lack of volume, there were still transactions by a couple of things. People that need to sell, typically people in distress,
Mhm.
or people that just have so much equity, they don't care. It's like people that had significant amounts of equity, and or the people buying were people also in the same regard. People that have a lot of money, people that have a lot of equity, people that basically it wasn't going to matter as much because even if they got a mortgage, they could buy down the rate, or it was a significantly small mortgage, maybe 50% LTV or whatever the case may be. So I just want to say for people that are dependent on transactions, there's still a lot of business out there to be had and so much opportunity, which I know you're going to transition for
Yeah.
24.
Yeah. What I would tell people rounding out 2023 is if you right size your business for 4 million transactions, we got another year, maybe two of this. But coming out of that, we'll eventually get back to five, and then 5.5, and then six. The economy will, that's where we will go. You will be stronger. You will have less competition. I just saw a note this morning, something like 60,000 realtors have not renewed their license. That's going to get worse.
Yep.
So, if you haven't right sized your business already, what the hell are you doing? But if you have, get after it. Get after it, because there's a lot of people that are just lazy. They're taking December off. They don't know what to do. And yeah, I mean, my agent got paid on my deal. And again, we got from a builder, we got a 6-figure discount off the price. We got a rate buy down all the way to 499, 30-year fixed. We got an extra 10 or 15 grand at closing. I forget what it was. We got upgrades for free. You know, negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. It's all out there. So,
Love
anything
it.
personal on the family side that you look back on 2023 and you go, like, you went to Mexico like what, 4 times or something?
Just twice. I went to
Oh,
Mexico twice. Actually, you know what? This is interesting. I'm glad you mentioned this. So we did go in November, but actually I had a trip scheduled in June. But based on you sharing and what we were talking about, I went to my wife and I said, "Hey, let's cancel. I need to keep my foot on the gas. We need to work through this. We had a couple of projects that were a little weird and whatnot, and just a little enough uncertainty. I
yeah,
said, you know what? Let's be smart about it. Let's let's delay some gratification. Let's go on a trip in November before
perfect.
Thanksgiving. And let's, you know what I mean? Let's keep our foot on the gas. So even still, and that was something you and I talked about. I felt like that was a May show where you were like,
Yep.
hey, this is the time for us to get lean and mean. And I'll also
Yes,
say too,
I
on my
remember that.
team, our team, like lean, very small. We right size. Couple of people weren't carrying weight. Nice people, but yeah, we had to shift. So got rid of a couple of people. Also too, maybe would have went out, a new vehicle, or a new
Yeah,
vehicle to me, new use, something like that. I said, no, I'm
delay.
going to keep my old car. I'm going to keep, you know what I mean? Like, let's stay lean. Let's be smart about this. Let's be intelligent and let's really position ourselves for better opportunities. So
I love that. I love that. Let's skip to 2024. I'll let you go first this time. When you look at 2024, family, business, investing, what are some things you're maybe excited about, leery of? What's going on there for you and the family?
I'll start with business because obviously that's our focus. And I think
Sure.
just something you said, 60,000 realtors not renewing their license. And again, I got a lot of love for the community for realtors and such. But I also want to say there's a lot of people that got into the business for easy money. There's a
Mm,
lot of people that are just quote unquote order takers, meaning they know how to open a lockbox. They have that MLS access. They got the license and they were just basically dependent on that. And I've always felt like those type of agents need to go. We
yeah.
really need people that can add value, people that can counsel, people that really have a higher level skill set that can solve problems. And for probably the last several years, I've been one to really say, hey, look, if you're not adding new tools and new skill sets, meaning that diversified, can you stop a pre foreclosure auction? Do you know how to counsel somebody through foreclosure? Is this the right time to sell? Or, what are their options? Can you counsel a family that's dealing with probate? And not only that, but have resources to be able to either A, put together a cash deal, or B, put it on the market, and again, then also the whole thing about creative finance. So I think we're evolving into an era. I think next year we're going to see a lot of people, 1.6 million realtors. We don't need 1.6 million realtors. We need, and I don't really know, but my
Less,
guesstimate is
less.
700,000 realtors who actually
Yeah.
work hard and know what they're
Mhm.
doing.
Yeah. Yeah. If we stay on the business side, I guess the big thing that I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to try to do this with Joe D, right? Joe
Yep.
D has been on the channel. It was, I plan to do a lot more of this is I plan to try to break into Vegas. I plan to bring one rental at a time to Vegas. I will not grow a massive portfolio. Don't get me wrong. It's more of just a mental challenge of, can I do it in a new market?
Yep.
And, you and I both know Joe D. Thank you for the introduction. Joe D is amazing. His reach, his footprint, his knowledge is second to none. Um, I'm gonna make that probably its own series, right? Joe D and I will get together and we'll just watch. We'll try to document as much as I can about learning Vegas. And I can't promise I'll buy a deal. I can promise I will do the work. I'll have a buy box. I'll bring everybody along. Um, but yeah, I'm taking on the mental challenge of trying to get a unit in Vegas in 2024. If something happens in Fresno and I find a deal, so be it. Um, I'm just lucky enough to be in a position where I could take this red herring and see if I could do it. So Joe D, if you ever watch this, we will get together. I'll be back in Vegas in January. We'll get together. We'll do some recordings. I want to do the best we can of watching the audience watch me do something from scratch. That's a big goal of mine. And the second goal of mine, and I just had this the other day, you can go back and watch a conversation with Brian Adamson and Dion. Um, One of the things that I considered, Ty, was I could pay a podcast host, whatever service, 5, 6, 10, 20 grand to get me on big shows. Um, I'm not going to do that. But what I will do is I will be more proactive and reach out, because I think One Rental at a Time has a story, right? I think there's enough of One Rental at a Time where I don't have to cut a check. I can cut a check, but I consider that cheating or jumping the line. So I'm going to do what I always do, is just do the work. I'm going to try to reach out to bigger channels. I was trying to think about this is, so I've never proactively reached out. I've been on Meet Kevin, I've been on Think Media, I've been on Ryan Pineda's because they were on mine and they were nice enough to say, "Hey, come on ours." But I never proactively reached out. I think I need to proactively reach out. And if anybody in my audience wants to proactively reach out on my behalf, please do. I would love to get on, like, collectively. Like, I'm just thinking about a number, like 5 million just jumped in my head. I want to get on enough other podcasts where their subscribers or followers or whatever they call them totals 5 million. Because I think we have a message. I think we have a story. I don't think, and maybe I'm being selfish, I don't think I have to cut a check. I think there's enough here. There's enough talking to full-time employees. There's enough, getting wealthy in 10 years. There's enough here that maybe we can get on more channels just by trying instead of jumping the line.
I I love that. And I will say that I will second and also say another business goal or a goal for me is also to, um, I love what you're doing. And I think you are one of the most underrated
Mm.
shows out there. And I think the One Rental at a Time story is unique. And I think it's powerful because I think that it is one of the top 2 or 3 best for residential, single family. The title says it best. The One Rental at a Time, somebody getting started or looking to acquire and go from 4 to 8 or 8 to 12 or
Yeah.
whatever that is. This is the show and the channel and the brand. And so I wholeheartedly want to be a big part of helping you support that.
Yeah.
And I think you know that.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to declare it to the audience. And then also respectfully, and I'll say for my own goals is that I want to ride your coattails. And I feel like, and you've been so helpful and gracious to have me be a part of the channel. And that also I want to similarly take a message to the realtor community,
Mhm.
specifically in teaching creative finance, how to be your best client, meaning that realtors, what I see with realtors is that not enough investment in themselves, number one, in terms of education. Number two is that they typically work really hard to go out and do transactions, but forget they should probably pick up a deal or two and build a
Yeah.
portfolio, right?
Yeah. Have that safety net. Absolutely.
Yeah, you should be your best client. Every now and then you're going to come across a great deal, and of course, ethically, morally, in the right way. You should be also be buying when that great deal comes across your desk. You should consider yourself, you
Yeah.
work so hard. Again, I want to help realtors build portfolios. I want to teach creative finance. I want that to be a branch of One Rental at a Time,
Oh,
but also
love that.
too in terms of the TYLG brand. And that, simultaneously, and what I love is this. If you really look at all of the big brands, the ones that, like, if I look at Pace and Jamil, or I look at just across the board, we could, Carlton Sheets, Robert Allen, Ron LeGrand, all of these guys, it was usually like all of these guys, they came up together. And I really believe that's what you're doing with One Rental at a Time with Omar and Adrian and myself and and again, the
Yeah.
lumberjack and Dion and all of your guys, Millennial Mike, and just your whole entire crew is so world class because number one, here truly go givers. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to you getting your silver plaque,
Mm.
right? 100,000 subscribers, YouTube,
Yeah.
right?
Somewhere.
And then,
Eventually.
yeah. And then even for me in 24, I'll be breaking off and I'll really be redoing and relaunching my YouTube channel. And again, I just appreciate all how you just bring all of us with you. So thank you,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah, one of the things that I realized really early on in building a channel is I could not build a channel by myself. It was really the purposeful addition of what now I refer to as millionaires, my repeat millionaire guests like yourself on Fridays, that make the channel. I do one thing solo, the daily financial news. Every other video, 80% of the weekly videos are with another millionaire, another go-giver. And I have been purposefully building who makes the cut, right? I own that. But yeah, the go-givers that are attracted to this channel and show up every week, you guys make the channel. And I really do think we all go together. I think we all go together. It's going to be a lot of fun. The thing that I will close on is this. Coming out of coming into 2023, I was nervous. The real estate market was slipping. We had a couple of months of negative growth. Transactions were down. Flippers were losing six figures. I was I was always certain that I would be okay because of how I built the portfolio and my debt, but I saw potentially a lot of pain. It didn't really metastasize. There was some pain in January, a little bit in February, but it wasn't a death blow to anyone. Going into 2024, I am far more optimistic. I don't have a hesitation. I don't see, as long as you right-sized your business and you're not running into this over with too much overhead, if you do what we talk about, I'm pretty excited about 2024. And I got to tell you, I get goosebumps thinking about working with Joe D and documenting Zuber learning a new buy box. That just seems exciting to me. I have no idea how it's going to play out on video, but I'm excited to give that a shot in 2024. Bring us home? Closing thoughts.
Ditto. I think too, this is interesting because in 20, coming from 22 to 23, I thought that this year would reign with creative finance
Me
deals,
too.
subject to pre-foreclosure would tick up the activity. I think it actually happens in 24. Also, too, with the same, in the same breath, I will say it's not going to pour rain. It'll be an uptick, and there'll be a lot more opportunity compared to the last several years, the last 3 or 4 years. We will finally see an uptick with the seller financing subject to opportunities, pre-foreclosures, just all the above. I think that the value that we bring as investors or creative realtors or just problem solvers, I think that our need will be stronger in the market this
Yeah.
next year just because of the uncertainty of this year pouring over, as well as I think with a recession, I think that's going to happen first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. We'll see. But I just think that those opportunities will level off. I think realtors kind of, some of them pack up and go away, which again, I just think for people that, going back to something you've always said, do the work, do the work, do the work. For those of you that do the work, for those of us that do the work, there's going to be a tremendous opportunity. And I think this will be that opportunity to separate, to pull away, to really go to another level, couple of levels, to really just elevate your business. So I'm excited.
There you go. Ty, TY_LG. What's the YouTube channel going to be called? Is it going to be called just TY_LG or what's going on?
It'll be like TYLG. It'll be YouTube/TYLG.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll be launching in January. So
Woohoo! I like it, folks. Stay tuned for that, Ty. Thank you for being here, buddy.
thank you, Michael.